Coffee trees are tropical, meaning the coffee belt of roughly from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn, much of Africa, Central and South America, and Southern Asia. Coffee grows best at elevations from 800 to 2200 meters and temperatures from 72 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Different soils, weather, sunshine, rainfall, and altitude result in distinct flavors. Coffee Arabica was the first and best known coffee bean, plus experts claimed it produced the best taste. Arabica continues to be the most popular and represents over 60% of coffee production. Other species were mainly started after coffee leaf rust decimated Arabica plantations. Coffee robusta, as the name suggests, is hardy and less susceptible to disease. These beans grow well in less ideal places. Other species are grown mainly in Southeast Asia and have distinct tastes. The largest producing country is Brazil, growing over 35% of the world total, followed by Vietnam with over 17%. However, Brazil grows Arabica while the Asian countries generally do not. We visited Costa Rica last year, a coffee growing country, but only 1% of the global total. Of course, Costa Rica is dinky, so coffee plantations represent a large percent of their agricultural production. Shade-grown coffee bushes are usually surrounded by trees. In Costa Rica, the coffee plants are often covered with black plastic during certain periods of the growing cycle. Coffee trees take 4 to 7 years before they bear fruit. Coffee is seasonal and there is usually one harvesting period a year, usually October to December for Arabica. Harvesting in Brazil, in the southern hemisphere, takes place from May to September. Coffee robusta often is harvested earlier, perhaps May to August. Some areas have both a primary and secondary season. Coffee trees tend to grow in relatively poor countries, and the cherries are selectively picked by hand when ripe, resulting in superior coffee. The unfortunate effect is poorly paid and overworked laborers. Picked before maturity means slightly sour. On flat land, strip picking can be used, usually by machine, more likely on large plantations. The side effects are unripe and defective beans. Three methods were developed to process coffee: dry processing, washed, and pulped natural, each of which results in different flavors. The first method was picking the ripe cherries and laying them out in thin layers to dry in the sun. When dry, the skin and fruit are removed, then stored before roasting. Under the wet method, the cherries are placed in a tank of water for 1 to 3 days. Then the fruit is removed by machine with washing. The beans are dried either by machine or by the sun. The honey method leaves the flesh on the beans, resulting in a sweeter coffee. The next step is usually roasting, which influences the taste mainly by chemical changes to the bean. Green coffee beans are commodities sold to roasters. Roasting requires the bean temperature to reach almost 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Caramelization causes the heat to break down starches to simple sugars and causes the bean to darken while creating much of the aroma and flavor. Large coffee companies typically buy green coffee beans from exporting countries, then roasting and grinding the coffee at their own mills. For example, beginning in 1960, Folgers Coffee built a New Orleans plant and shipped beans from Central America. Coffee must be ground for the water to penetrate the coffee for a full flavor. The smaller the grind size, the greater the surface area to be brewed. A medium roast and grinding may be the sweet spot for most. It's a long process from farmers to a hot cup on the table. How that happens involves middlemen called traders. Next time on Food History and Mystery.